morning, guys. Look at this beautiful lighting we have here. I don't know what the deal is, but the sun's back in Los Angeles. We had a very muggy week for a little bit, but it's Saturday, which means that we're here. The dog painting is here. Still not going to tell the story today because it's graduation season, and so that's what I'm here to talk about today. I've got my cup. There was a Christmas present with my initial on it. And the coffee is hot because I have a very busy day today. So I worked, so we just finished the show that I was doing, but I work Monday through Friday traditionally, which means that all of my errands and things have to get jam-packed into Saturdays. So I usually get up and do this and then go and do all my stuff. I've got a lot of things to do because I have to take care of some stuff back home, so I will be going back. I know I was just there. Might as well just have a home in both places, but I essentially do because it's where my parents live and all of my family. So it's nice because I get both. I can have both, and I'm into it. I don't know if you can see the steam coming off my coffee, but for the first time I didn't make it and have it sit for 10 minutes while I set up the lights and everything. I'm also noticing that there's cocoa powder and cinnamon on my counter because I was baking this week. I wanted to talk about graduations this week because it's graduation season, and so everybody's getting ready to move on to the next part of their lives, and so I thought I would share my experiences and maybe impart some wisdom with you because I don't know if you know this, but I have a bachelor's degree. And don't be fooled, it was a very expensive piece of paper. I'm very proud of it and happy that I did it, but dear God, I'm just drowning in the student loan debt. So I have two graduations that I have participated in. The first one was my high school graduation, which I've been looking back at my Facebook memories, as I often do, and one of the ones that came up for around my high school graduation was we used to have a senior awards ceremony, which is basically where they announce the top 10 and give out awards for community service, honors, different things like that. And I was the treasurer of the National Honor Society. And as you know, I was in theater and in marching band, so I was just the most eligible bachelorette in high school. But at any rate, I was taking college classes while I was in high school, and back then they called it dual enrollment or concurrent classes, which basically meant my high school paid for part of my college education, which thank you, Cobra High School, that was very nice of you to do. And so I graduated high school with a year's worth of credits towards my bachelor's degree. And I had taken a geology class that I did not put any time into, and so I ended up, I don't know if I failed or I got a really low grade, but it basically knocked me out of the top 10 of my class and the top 10%, and I was very salty about it. And so our class valedictorian, hi Karina, got a lot of the awards because she was a really great student, which I don't know if I've mentioned, but I skipped half a grade. So for me to be at the top of my class for the year ahead of me was already a big deal, but in my head it was I still needed to be number 2, if not number 1, and I was for a good portion of school. But yeah, so she ended up getting almost all of the awards at this ceremony, and so I was thank you for everyone who came to the Karina fill in the blank, I'm not gonna oust your last name, awards ceremony. But the way I feel about that is sort of the way I feel about prom. It matters so much at the time, and then once you get into the real world and you kind of live your life and start going through your own things outside of high school, it doesn't matter. I forget half of the names of people I went to school with, or things that happened. I don't even remember, but I know at the time it was such a big deal. For prom, I was so crushed that I didn't have a prom date. And as an adult now, I'm who gives a shit? Just either go by yourself with friends or don't go at all. It's not the end of the world. There are bigger things to deal with. And so that's it's basically how I've looked at graduation stuff as well. Like, it doesn't matter that I wasn't in the top 10% or whatever because of that class. Like, what matters is that I finished high school and then went to college. So my high school graduation ceremony was a bit of a shit show because it was really windy, and so we were supposed to have it outside, but then everybody wanted to have it inside. And I remember I was very against having it inside because I thought that was the dumbest thing ever. We were gonna have to move everybody and the stage and everything, and I thought it was just gonna be like the dumbest thing of my life. And it kind of was, but like, it doesn't affect me in my adult life, so it doesn't really matter. But basically what happened was we were sitting there, and as I do in social situations, I was making jokes or just kind of trying to like make light of the fact that we were sitting and waiting forever for graduation and listening to these people's speeches. And there was a girl who was, I don't want to say she was like my nemesis, but we definitely didn't like each other in high school. And she was sitting a few people down, and sidebar, I did have bad eyebrows for a little bit of time, and nobody told me, so thanks a lot, guys. And so I was making jokes and whatever, but like, that's just me as a person. I just do that all the time. And so she was like, just got really pissed off that we were having a good time because like me and everyone around me were all like laughing and whatever. She was like, fix your eyebrows. I was like, okay, like that's the only insult she could think of. Like, there are so many other things she could have insulted me for, and she chose to pick my eyebrows. But now when I fill them in, they're okay. I know right now they're like little squirmy wormies, but I promise you guys, I can fix my eyebrows. I know what I'm doing now. I invested a lot of time in YouTube tutorials, so I'm kind of a professional. But at any rate, so that was my high school graduation. My college graduation was completely different because it was, I think, like 1,000 people. So they were basically just herding cattle the entire time. And it was in Boston because I graduated from Emerson College, and that's where it is. So I got my whole family there. I think my grandma didn't go, but my siblings both did. My brother-in-law went, my parents went, and it was everybody's first time in Boston, so I had to act as tour guide, which was fun. And then for the ceremony itself, Robin Roberts was the speaker at my graduation, and so my mom was fangirling pretty hard. And I went to college with Sofia Vergara's son, humble brag. And so he sat, because his last name is similar to my last name, so we were sitting, I think, either next to each other or like 1 or 2 people apart. And so we were just kind of doing the same thing that I did at my high school graduation. We were making jokes and shooting the shit the whole time, because like that kind of ceremony, it's just like, you gotta get people on and off the stage. Like, you can't, it's not like high school where you can say like, this is this person, and you have your moment to like walk across the stage and take a picture, whatever. We were just like streamlining onto the stage to like go off and get our diplomas and whatever. I think, let me see. But yeah, so then after the fact, we came out to like the main area, and everybody, like, it took a little bit, and like I knew where she was, Sophia, because I saw her and her son like standing there, and then like slowly people started to realize that it was her and she was there, so they were like taking out their phones and whatever, and even my mom was doing that. I was like, Mom, please stop, like she's just trying to watch her son graduate college and live her life. But yeah, it was such a long ceremony because there were so many people to get through, and just like speeches and all this other stuff. But I remember our class president had a really great speech. He was one of the stand-up comedians that would regularly do shows at my school, and he was just a hilarious dude. I don't know what he's up to now, but just thought I would share that with you guys because that was my college graduation. Let me think if there's anything else. Yeah, I mean, so now I am we're in 2018, so I'm 3 years out of college. I graduated college in 3 years, and had to go back for the ceremony, and now have kind of had my time to like live my life and get some lessons for you guys. So I just kind of wanted to share really quickly before my battery dies, because it's been blinking at me since the beginning, some things to kind of take with you around graduation season, and I guess through life, because a lot of people are going through this phase right now where they don't really know what to do, and especially the panel that I did a few weeks ago, these were high school seniors who were like graduating and getting ready to go to college. I think sometimes it's easy to get wrapped up in like where you're at right now. So as someone who's like past that point, if I don't die, I just wanted to share some stuff with you guys. So number one thing that I would have said to my past self, and that I say to kids now, is just try new things. You know, be open to new experiences, let go of whatever idea you thought you had, and just do something new. Because when I was in college, I took up a lot of time working because I needed to support myself. So I didn't have the luxury of being able to join all these like comedy clubs or like theater programs, like all these things and extracurriculars in college. I didn't have time for it because I like was either working or at school. So I would say if you have the time and the luxury of being able to do that, absolutely do it. Because even if it's something that it doesn't seem like you would really enjoy, you never know, you know, just like go for it and try new things. I moved across the country after high school, having never been on a plane or done anything, and it was the best decision I've ever made. And so even if you're not at a point where you can do something like as drastic and dramatic as that, just try something new, you know, even if it's like you go somewhere that you've never eaten before, like make a new friend, you know, just do something to kind of like broaden your perspective on things and like learn about people and observe them. I don't know, but just be open to new things because life is not going to go as you planned. Number two, do what is best for you as a person. I feel like a lot of times people, and myself included, get very wrapped up in the idea of what is going to make everyone else happy or what you should do for anyone else. That kind of thing doesn't matter. And for me, as soon as I let that go, things started going the way that I had not anticipated, but the way that I wanted for them to go. For example, I used to work in a restaurant right after college, and I did that for like almost a year. And I was sitting there one day and I was miserable at my job because they weren't treating me very well in terms of like my scheduling, and I was basically wasting my time working there because I wanted to live out my Coyote Ugly dream and become a bartender, and they weren't doing that. They were like hiring new people instead of training me to do that, even though we're not gonna get into it. That's a whole other thing. But basically, they weren't treating me well or fairly. So I saw a job post and I was showing it to my friend at work, and I was like, I can't do this. You know, I would have to take 2 weeks off of work and I can't do that. He was like, just quit your job. Like, what is the restaurant gonna shut down? And I was like, you know what, you're right. And so I was so wrapped up in thinking like, I don't want these people to think that I'm a bad person because I quit my job without notice, or if I don't have a job after, like, what am I gonna do? I just let go of everything that I thought was important for everyone else and just did what was right for me. And it ended up being the best decision that I ever made, besides moving to Boston, to be completely honest, because it helped me get to where I am now and to where I've been working in non-restaurants for 2 years. And that's amazing. Like, I never thought that I would be able to do that. I always thought I was just gonna be like an unemployed comedian, if you will, or just like working weird side jobs to make money, and I haven't had to do that, which I'm not saying that it's a bad thing if you do that, but I'm very grateful that that decision led me to where I am now. Oh my god, I just had a point and I was totally thinking about it and now it's gone. This is the problem with not writing everything down, is that I will forget what I was going to say. Oh man, okay. I mean, I guess another point that I want to make, but like is definitely not what I was thinking, is if you're gonna party, do it smart. Like, handle your school stuff and have fun when you can, because I know everyone says this, but even though 4 years or 3, however many you do college, seems like a very long time, it goes by pretty quickly because you're so busy and going for however many months at a time that it's like, wait, what year is it? And then you're standing at graduation. But that's what I would say is, you know, just think before you do stuff. Don't get so wrapped up in things. You know, it's very easy to be consumed by what's going on right now and not thinking ahead and realizing that your life is just going to go on no matter what. And so for me, a lot of that in college was just kind of like dealing with everything and realizing that this isn't permanent. You know, like once I was done with school, I was done. And so now I'm in a place where I don't have to deal with a lot of that stuff. And it's I gotta say, it's really nice. I know it's easy to look at someone who's out of it and say, well, I'm just starting, and so you don't know what you're going through. I do remember what I went through, and it was hellacious. Because I had basically my East Coast family, but all of the rest of my family was back home, and all my friends. So I had to start from basically scratch at school. But it turned out to be great because I went to a lot of different schools when I was in elementary school. So it's not as though I was unable to make friends. I just was starting to do it as an adult. Try to think if I'm going to be able to remember the other thing I wanted to say. I know I was thinking about it when I was talking about my job, and that now I've been able to work in entertainment instead of restaurants and stuff. But I don't think it's gonna come to me, guys. I mean, honestly, the best thing I think I can tell you is just do what makes you happy to the best of your abilities. And I know that's really easy to say just as a blanket statement because I don't know everyone's individual situation, but without getting too like sappy and serious, that's what I'll say. Just, you know, college is a great experimenting time, and I think if anything, I also would have told my younger self, like, just to just do what made me happy and kind of let go of the things that didn't. And I think I would have learned that stuff a lot quicker because I feel like I didn't get to it until after I was out of college and realized that I was kind of just wasting my degree and doing all these things that I didn't really want to do. But it does get better. And I will say, as someone who it took about a year to realize that I didn't have to just keep doing what I didn't want to do, you can get to where you're at. You know, it might take everybody more time than others. Like, sometimes I get really like down when I'm thinking, oh man, like people I went to school with are so much further along than me or whatever. It doesn't matter, you know, take your time and do everything at your own pace. Like, I graduated early and then took that extra year that I would have been in school to kind of like figure myself out. And I'm really glad I did. And so, you know, I'm gonna stop rambling and saying the same thing over and over because I'm already at almost 18 minutes and I don't want to keep talking your ear off over here. But happy graduation season to everyone. Everybody made a big deal about graduating high school, and I never understood why. But I am more of the one who thinks it's a bigger deal to graduate college, because it is really tough, especially because like I went to private school and it's very expensive. So, but I don't want anybody to think that I look down on you if you drop out or transfer schools or whatever. That's another thing, is don't let anyone tell you that you need to go to school right now or that you have to go to a certain school, you know, because at the end of the day, you have to do what makes you happy. And you can go to a private school, it's very expensive, and be unhappy, or you can go to community college and have a great time. It doesn't matter. Just do your thing, live your life. If you made it to graduation, congratulations, you did it, and I'm very happy and proud to have done it myself. And I hope this was helpful to anybody who's going through it right now. But yeah, next week, I don't know, maybe I'll tell the story of my painting here, and I'll finally stop, you know, yanking you guys about it. But if anything, it's been a great Saturday morning. I gotta go. I got places to go and things to do. Gotta get my eyelash extensions on. Ooh. And just lots of logistical life things to do. Gotta turn in the Prius I got myself for my college graduation. That's what I think I was gonna mention, but happy Saturday, everyone. Happy graduation. Congratulations, and I'll see you guys next Saturday.